Number 10. The self-wiping hard drive. Let's start with the most fundamental problem. Your infant brain was less like a sophisticated computer and more like a hard drive that was constantly formatting itself. The part of your brain responsible for forming new long-term memories is a little seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus. In your first couple of years, this area was a chaotic construction zone. It was undergoing a process called neurogenesis, creating new brain cells at an explosive rate. This was vital for learning basic skills, like how to recognize a face or control your limbs. But this rapid growth had a deeply ironic side effect. It was destructive to any memories trying to settle in. Every new batch of neurons that sprouted up essentially bulldozed the delicate, existing memory circuits. It's like trying to build a city and having the construction crew demolish every finished building to make room for new ones. The very biological process that allowed you to learn and adapt was actively wiping the slate clean, preventing any of those early experiences from becoming permanent. Your brain was so preoccupied with building the memory-making factory that it threw all the early products straight into the incinerator. Number 9. The Missing Librarian. Okay, so let's say a few memories managed to survive the constant reformatting. Maybe a particularly strong emotional moment got saved to the hard drive. Why can't you access it now? Well, because the library was built. But the librarian hadn't been hired yet. The part of your brain that acts as this memory librarian is the prefrontal cortex. It's the sophisticated, front-of-house manager responsible for executive functions, like retrieving stored information. It's the bit that hears you ask, "What was my third birthday like?" and then goes rummaging through the archives to find the file. The problem is, the prefrontal cortex is one of the last brain regions to fully mature, continuing its development well into your 20s. In your baby brain, it was basically an empty office with a "coming soon" sign on the door. So even if the memories are technically in there, deep in the stacks, there's no cognitive mechanism to find them. The retrieval system is offline. It's like having a vast, wonderful library with millions of books, but no catalog, no search function, and no one at the front desk to help you. The information might exist, but for all practical purposes, it's completely lost. Number 8. The Neural Purge. This is where it gets a little more brutal. Your brain isn't a sentimental hoarder. It's a ruthless efficiency expert. During your early years, your brain created an insane number of connections between neurons, a tangled web of potential pathways. It was over-prepared for any possible environment. But to become a fast, efficient machine, it couldn't keep all that messy wiring. So it initiated a process called synaptic pruning. Think of it as a city planner looking at a map with a million tiny streets and deciding to get rid of 90% of them, keeping only the major highways. Your brain actively destroyed the connections that weren't being used frequently to strengthen the ones that were. It's a use-it-or-lose-it policy on a massive scale. Those fragile, pre-verbal memories of lying in your crib or watching dust float in a sunbeam. They were weak connections, so when the neural purge came, they were deemed inefficient and simply snipped. Your brain sacrificed your first memories for the sake of processing speed. Number 7. No story, no memory. Now we move from the brain's hardware problems to its software issues. Imagine you watched a movie with no plot, no characters, and no dialogue, just a 2-hour stream of disconnected images and sounds. Our long-term, autobiographical memories, the story of us, are built on a scaffold of language. Words like before, after, happy, scared, and mine are the building blocks we use to construct a memory that makes sense. A baby doesn't have this software. It experiences the world as a raw, unfiltered flood of sensory data: light, warmth, pressure, noise. It feels comfort or distress, but it can't label these feelings or place them into a cause and effect story. Without a narrative structure, the experiences are like individual beads with no string to hold them together. It's not that nothing was happening, it's that your brain had no way to write the script for the movie. Number 6. The Anonymous Protagonist. This one is a real mind-bender. To have an autobiographical memory, you need an autobiography. And to have an autobiography, you need a protagonist, a main character. That character is you, or your sense of self. It's the conscious awareness that you are an individual, separate from the world, with your own thoughts and experiences. As an adult, this feels obvious, but a baby doesn't have it. For the first year or two, a baby's consciousness is more of a blurry, merged state with its surroundings, particularly its primary caregiver. It hasn't yet formed the rock-solid concept of I or me. So when an event happens, who is it happening to? If there's no stable main character to anchor the memory, how can it be stored as a personal story? It's like a movie being filmed with no one in the starring role. The camera is rolling. The scenes are playing out. But there's no central figure to tie it all together. The development of a sense of self is a slow, gradual process. Your earliest experiences happened to a version of you that was so conceptually different, so lacking in self-awareness, that it might as well have been a different person. You can't remember their life because, in a very real psychological sense, it wasn't your life yet. Number 5, incompatible file formats. Let's imagine some early memories did get stored. They were tied to a budding sense of self. And they even had some primitive story. You still can't access them. Why? Because your brain is trying to open a file with the wrong program. This is the encoding and retrieval mismatch theory. A baby's brain encodes memories in a purely non-verbal format. It saves them as raw sensations, emotions, motor actions, and images. Think of this as a proprietary, ancient file format. Let's call it .baby. This file contains the pure feeling of being lifted into the air, the terrifying sound of a vacuum cleaner, the smell of baby powder. Years later, your adult brain tries to access this memory, but your adult brain's operating system runs on language and complex logic. It's trying to open that baby file using a docs reader. The result is an error message. The data is unreadable. The way you stored the information is so fundamentally different from how you now try to retrieve it that the two systems can't communicate. The memories aren't gone. They're just encrypted in a language your modern brain has forgotten how to speak. Number 4, emotional ghosts. Here is where things get genuinely unsettling. While you can't consciously recall the events of your early life, the what, where, and when your body and subconscious remember the feelings perfectly. This is the creepy distinction between explicit memory facts and events, and implicit memory emotional and procedural responses. Explicit memory is gone, but implicit memory is forever. It's the ghost in your machine. That inexplicable jolt of anxiety you feel in elevators. That strange aversion you have to a certain pattern on wallpaper. These could be implicit memories, emotional echoes from a time before you could form narratives. Maybe as a baby, you were startled by a loud noise in an enclosed space, and the pure, nonverbal terror was saved directly to your nervous system. You don't remember the event, but the fear remains, ready to be triggered. These are not memories you have. They are memories that are a part of you. They form the invisible architecture of your personality, your phobias, and your deepest comforts. You're navigating your adult life based on an emotional rulebook that was written in your first 2 years. And you have no conscious access to what those rules are or why they exist. Number 3, the locked vault of nightmares. Now, let's venture into a darker, more controversial theory from the world of psychoanalysis. This idea, popularized by Sigmund Freud, suggests that you don't remember your infancy because you are actively, forcefully repressing it. The theory goes that early childhood isn't the innocent, idyllic period we imagine. Instead, it's a chaotic and savage time filled with primal urges, confusing emotions, jealousy, and disturbing fantasies that would be terrifying to our civilized adult minds. According to this view, the infant mind is a whirlwind of raw, unfiltered ID. Freud argued that as we develop a conscience and social awareness, we build powerful psychological barriers to lock these early, unacceptable memories away. We don't just forget them, we bury them in a subconscious vault and stand guard to make sure they never get out. While modern neuroscience doesn't really support this model, it's a compelling and unsettling thought. What if your first memories aren't gone, but are just locked away because you, on a deep subconscious level, don't want to know what's in there? It recasts childhood amnesia not as a passive glitch, but as an active, desperate act of psychological self-defense. Number 2, the forgotten dream. Think about the last dream you had, even if it was incredibly vivid at the time. What can you recall now? Probably just a few weird fragments, if anything. The logic is slippery, the narrative is bizarre, and it fades into mist almost the moment you wake up. Some neuroscientists propose that the state of consciousness for a baby is far more similar to a dream state than to adult waking consciousness. A baby's brain is not yet tethered to the rigid logic and linear reality that governs our adult world. It's a flowing, associative, and surreal experience. A constant stream of sensory input and bizarre connections. Much like a dream. You don't remember being a baby for the same reason. You don't remember the exact plot of every dream you've ever had. It's not a state of being where stable, linear memories can easily form. You didn't just forget the memories. You woke up from them. Your entire first 1 or 2 years of life might have been one long psychedelic dream that you were never meant to remember upon waking into the person you are today. Number 1. Cellular echoes. Finally, we arrive at the strangest and most intimate form of memory, one that might not even live in your brain. This is the concept of body memory, or cellular memory. The idea is that experiences, especially those involving physical touch and stress, are stored not as images or stories, but as information within the cells of your body, in your muscles, your tissues, and your posture. A baby who was consistently held in a tense, anxious way might develop a chronically rigid posture later in life. An infant who experienced physical trauma might hold that tension in their muscles for decades, leading to unexplained chronic pain as an adult. This isn't a memory you can think about. It's a memory you inhabit. Your brain has no recollection of the event, but your body keeps the score. You haven't just forgotten your babyhood. You are literally carrying its physical burdens around with you every single day.